Greetings, people of the world! Matthew back with you here in Overall Autism for the continuation of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. It is Year 2, Day 59 for EDSS in the Realm Reborn. And last time, we took on the last of the 2.4 dungeons, the main story dungeon, known as Snowcloak, where we were able to successfully locate the lair of the being known as Iceheart. But now, we have to stop her from summoning the primal known as Shiva as an act to give the Dravanian Horde an advantage. So, let's go ahead and start our way to get there by speaking with Alpha Node to take on the first challenge entitled For the Greater Good. Though not given to small talk, Alpha Node can think of no better way to pass the time until Minfilia arrives. And so, here comes Minfilia, properly dressed no less. Antecedent, you come to us straight from the archives of House Fulton. I trust your time there proved fruitful. Would that it had. Urianger and I scoured countless texts, but what we found was of questionable veracity. Accounts of Shiva's life and deeds are sparse and contradictory, only agreeing upon one point. She lay down with a dragon, the gravest of all sins according to the Ishgardian faith. Yet in the eyes of Iceheart's followers, this was a holy act, the blessed union of man and dragon. How such a thing could even be possible is quite another question. Suffice it to say, I very much doubt that we will find a useful answer in the archives of House Fulton. Much knowledge has been lost over the centuries, though in this case, one wonders if it is by circumstance or design. You said that Iceheart took a moment to plead her case prior to escaping, did you not? Yeah, that's true. And here's what she said. Viewed without prejudice, most would agree that bringing an end to an endless war serves the greater good. I think Sir Emmerich might take issue with her methods. I think that would be true. Especially since she claims to be working for Hydaelyn. I do not care if it is a few stragglers manage to escape, until the sepals confirm that eternal is safe, the men are not to touch it. Yes, Commander. Yeah, perhaps we can persuade the Warrior of Light to go back. You pursue your foes with less zeal than I had expected, Sir Emmerich. Lest you misunderstand, I do not deny that our enemy has given us good reason to be prudent. I merely meant, you being a man of faith, that I had expected a certain single-mindedness. After all, was it not by the will of Helon that your ancestors came to this land? Why they took up arms against the Dravanians? What would they have done in your position, I wonder? There are those who believe that faith is a renunciation of free will, that unquestioning devotion is required of all who would live a life in service to the Fury. Such righteous fervor may well serve a knight on the front line, less so a leader of men. We are all at liberty to interpret the scriptures as we will. I choose to believe that the Fury would value the lives of our followers over the deaths of our enemies. But I will not presume to speak for the Knights of Eld. 'Twas a different time, nay, a different era, and scripture tells us only so much. Would that it told us more? How about this? Yeah, what say the two of you? I guess they're just gonna go back to having a conversation. Very well. So where does that put us? That man is awfully pragmatic for a servant of the Holy See. A welcome trait at the negotiating table, to be sure. Less so when one's enemies are making ready to harness the power of a god. Mayhap he does not truly believe that Iceheart's plan can succeed? Truth be told, I too remain somewhat skeptical. Shiva was real, a living, breathing woman. Of that there can be no doubt. In this respect she differs from every other figure to have been summoned, each of whom was worshipped as a god. The sole exception being good King Mogulmog XII, the myth made manifest in response to the fervent supplications of the Mogul's god. Saint Shiva may differ, but what of the heretics? They are a tribe of outcasts at war with the mighty nation, who yearn for the resurrection of the one who embodies their beliefs. If that is not placing one's faith in a higher power, then what is? Crystals and conviction, Minfilia. They have them both in abundance. Oh, a representative of the Crystal Braves. I'm giving us some info to Alphinode. Can that truly be all that is required? My survey team has concluded a preliminary analysis of the Aetherite Iceheart used to escape. They believe that she teleported to another Aetherite, somewhere not far to the west. Despite the apparent proximity of the second Aetherite, however, they have been wholly unable to detect its presence directly. Unless Iceheart has some means to mask its signal, I can only presume she had it destroyed to prevent us from following her. Without the means to teleport as she did, we have no choice but to search for an alternate route, most likely a tunnel, assuming one exists. While we were able to find the tunnel that led us through Snowcloak, let us not give up on teleportation just yet. One of our colleagues in Charlene may be able to assist us. I pray that you are right. I dare not think how long it will take us to survey the entire tunnel system. And so where does that put us? So a little while later, while Minfilia looks into our Aetherite problem, I would like to request your assistance with another matter. The 3rd unit is currently tracking the remnants of the heretic force which attacked us. However, the search goes poorly, despite our numbers. Kerthus is vast and Iceheart's followers know the terrain far better than we. Your knowledge of this region may serve to hasten the process. The sooner we capture Iceheart's followers, the sooner we can press them for their leader's whereabouts. Also, though it is admittedly a selfish request, I feel that my braves would benefit immensely from working alongside you. While we have our share of veterans, we have more than a few less experienced recruits, many of whom look up to you, in case you were not aware. And Minfilia gives her sign of approval, so I shall do the same. I knew you would understand. Yu Hase can apprise you of the details. When the task is complete, come and find me at the Observatorium. Captain Ilbert and I are meeting there to discuss the latest developments in his investigation. The Temple Knights shall hold Snowcloak in our absence. Let us leave them to their work. Ours is more pressing. And thank you for your vote of confidence, Lady Minfilia. Well, we know where we gotta go to next. So, let's summon my Chocobo. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Yu Hase is right here. Sorry. Lalafels. Hard to notice them sometimes. There you are, Edie. Commander Levier instructed me to wait for you. Your assistance is most welcome, believe me. Most of the 3rd hail from Ul'dah, and for a man accustomed to feeling the sand beneath his boots, the crunch of snow can be rather disconcerting. But to the matter at hand, nary a moment ago I received word that the heretics we seek have been spotted making for Danafin Pass. My braves are already in pursuit, and I should be grateful if you would join them. I myself should be taking part in the hunt. Never let it be said that I do not earn my coin. And so off goes our little Lalafell friend. And so shall we. Off to Danafin Pass, which we have actually passed through a few times already. So we did most of this in the evening, but now sunrise is on the verge of coming out, and while it is not uncommon for a lack of sunlight to actually pass through the clouds of Kerthus, it is just a matter of time before a new day dawns. And hopefully with it some positive results. So, off we go, to the east. So, they're not actually in Danafin Pass yet, they are close to that point, but not actually there. So let's make our way over there right now, past the ice sprites. Yeah, don't worry, these ones aren't going to attack us. Thankfully. Yeah, I would appreciate a welcome reprieve from sprites. Alright, we found one of the Braves. A little worse for wear, though. Those balls, my ankle is on fire. Caught my boot on a rock or something and I twisted it as I fell. The others went on ahead through Donovan Pass. Hurrying, you might catch up. If you aren't sure where to go, look for tracks. This snow is fresh, so they shouldn't be hard to find. Well, that won't be an issue for me because, well, we know where Donovan Pass is. And it looked like the red circle was showing us to go back to, of course, where we first started doing our Last of the Dragoon training to get the armor needed for Edie to become a full-fledged Dragoon. Yes, how fitting that so much of this centers around where that journey began, where we crossed paths with the Steny N and started on becoming a full-fledged Dragoon. How does it work, I tell ya? I ask all of you, how does it work? So, let's trudge on through Donovan Pass, through this tunnel, and pop out the other side and start looking for our mark. So, it's going to be more than likely somewhere down in the middle. So hopefully we are not attacked by giant luggers. Or readers. They can also hurt too. But we actually have to go... Yeah, it looks like we're going down here again. Right down in the epicenter of this landmass. Okay, it's not specifically down here. But hopefully we can find our mark soon. In fact, I'm actually surprised we haven't seen the icon for it yet. Let me see if I can get on higher ground and get a better perspective. I'm actually surprised that it doesn't. I'm very surprised by that, actually. Yeah, because usually from an elevated perspective... Okay, here it is. Here are the prints. Yeah, we walked right by them a few times, actually. The tracks lead southeast. Looks like they're heading towards the observatorium, mentioned by Alphanode himself. So yeah, looks like we're gonna have to start making hot tracks for the east. And we found another member of the Braves. And yeah, this is a guy. Scion, what are you doing here? The heretics? I'm not sure. There was a great skilled beast in... Yu Hase? I think he went east on his own. The heretics split up, so we did too. Which means we gotta keep going east. Yeah, it's gonna be a hot trail in the cold snow. Well, it looks like it's gonna come to a head right here. Because, yeah, once you know it, here's Yu Hase. And with a purple circle on the field, you know what that means. It's Chocobo summoning time. Let's breach the perimeter and find our opponents. Here we go. I'm gonna crash all over you. Make you suffer. Yeah, you can try and cast all the stuff you want, but you're not gonna stop me. No way. Yeah, Yu Hase is looking a little worse for wear. Hopefully we can rescue him before we get taken out. And down it goes. Alright. Hey, Yu Hase. How embarrassing! I was so intent on following the heretics' tracks that I almost failed to notice they had doubled back. Almost, mind you. One tried to sneak up behind me and got a knife in the gut for his troubles. I found myself alone, so I started searching the dead man's knapsack for anything of interest. And lo and behold, before his friends found me, I came upon this. What we had there? Withdraw in groups of 3 or less to the observatorium. Give the signal and wait. The merchant will be waiting. Be late and be left for dead. Speaks for itself, does it not? They can't possibly mean to rendezvous inside the place. so we should restrict our search to the surrounding areas. Let me rephrase that. You should restrict your search to the wilderness around the observatorium. I will need more than a moment's rest to recover from these wounds. Yeah, and soon, because it looks like a fight just started. We're not going to dirty our hands with the fate, though. We instead are just going to walk right by it and move on to our next challenge. As much as it would be nice to take on Turn Off Your Hearth Light, we're going to turn off of this fate. So, cross the water, cross the river. Come on, pull yourself up. There you go. So now, once again, walking the path that led me into Kerthus in the first place. It's amazing how much of this path brings us down memory lane in this game. Especially here in year 2. Alright, approaching the target. This guy. Actually, more specifically, these guys. So let's give them a talking to. I am through listening to your excuses. We live now. How? Those woods are crawling with those blue coats and the gnats are searching every wagon that passes through the gates. And then there's me, the Warrior of Light. Well, stay with him then if you think you'll fare any better. No, there's no need for that. Yeah, you're trapped. There are places in this in my homeland, sacred snow-capped peaks where blood must not be shed. But since we're not on sacred ground... Yet your lands have a thirst for the blood of the fallen, and by your deeds it has drunk deep. Yeah, glad to see you join us here, Lady Ugiri. No! I have done no wrong! None but meeting in secret with heretics. Deny it all you will, we shall have the truth from you yet. Inquisitors are not the only ones skilled in the art of interrogation. Tummy toll! Like, oh, the agony! Fancy meeting you here, Edie. I presume your work with the third brought you hither? Oh yeah. What a tangled web! Lest you wonder, we came not for the heretics, but for the merchant who has been conspiring with them. He came to our attention during the course of our investigation into the Ivy. It beggars belief, I know, but it seems our favorite Garlean spy may have been providing assistance to Iceheart. Were it not for the efforts of Lady Ugiri and her shinobi, we might never have discovered this connection. Master Alphanode is too kind. I fear my people and I have done little to aid your search for this spy. We long to strike back against the Empire and weaken their influence in this land, to prevent the tragedy which befell Doma from reoccurring. The days ahead and the work they promise will require a very particular set of skills of which I am fortunate enough to possess. If you will allow it, I would accompany you until the investigation is complete. That is a most generous offer, Lady Ugiri, and one which I gladly accept. Thank you. Though I may disappear for a time, know that I shall never be far and shall always be watching. A comforting thought. Come, Edie. Let us wait inside for Captain Ilbert to return and deliver his report. Well, thank you very much for your assistance, you two. And so now that that's taken care of, let's go inside the observatorium. So we gotta find Alphanode inside. Does not look like he's within the grounds itself. Looks like he's just gonna be standing out near the fireplace. Which is probably a good idea for him, because he just can't get used to this cold weather. Alphanode? Captain Ilbert seemed confident that the merchant's resolve would swiftly crumble when pressed. If so, we should have new information ere long. As to whether it will bring us any closer to learning the Ivy's identity, I would rather not say. Given our adversary's cunning, I shall consider us fortunate if we are spared another wild dodo chase. The gods know that we have more than enough to occupy our time as it is. And so with that, we move on to our next challenge, entitled Tendrils of Intrigue. Alphanode is eager to hear Ilbert's report on the Ivy. So let's hear what the captain has to say. Here he comes. Hello there, Captain. And they're still flipping us off still. Captain Ilberd, your report, if you will. Ah, Commander. Firstly, with regard to the heretic we captured, I regret to say that the man could tell us naught that we did not already know of Shiva. So we have already handed him over to the Ishgardian authorities. Henceforth, the Holy See will pursue the matter independently. All inquiries concerning the Ivy, however, have proven more fruitful. We have ascertained the channel by which the heretics acquired their information on the shipment routes. Go on. You will recall the flame we first identified as being in the Ivy's employ. From him we were able to trace a trail of conspirators, each taking us closer to his master. Alas, the trail came to an abrupt end. Fearing that the investigation had been compromised, we took all necessary steps of detaining all suspected of conspiracy. There were 5 on our list, including a flame station at Revenant's Toll. The man's primary duty was to keep an inventory of donations from abroad, the particulars of which he would share with benefactors, thereby ensuring that needs did not go unfulfilled. By virtue of his role, he was privy to the details of all shipments bound for this settlement. Needless to say, that included those originating from House Forton. He knew the precise route the caravan would take, and he sold that information to a merchant. I think I can guess which one. None other. With a little encouragement, he soon confessed to knowingly aiding and abetting the heretics. Well, that is one mystery solved at least. But what of the Ivy? Are we any closer to prizing off his mask? I dare say we are, Commander. Our relentless pursuit has forced him to commit a grave error. In a desperate bid to cover his tracks, the Ivy resorted to exercising certain administrative powers available only to high-ranking members of the Immortal Flames. If you consider then that our investigation is known to barely a handful of them, the field of suspects is greatly narrowed. You mean to say that the agent is among Rabon's innermost circle, someone who has been with him since the Immortal Flame's establishment? 'Tis the most plausible explanation. The infiltration likely occurred during the company's founding, with the groundwork for the act being laid beforehand. To slip into a position of authority unremarked and remain above suspicion all these years. Indeed. I too was surprised, though I really should not have been. Of the 3 grand companies, Aldars was ever the more vulnerable to infiltration. Both Limsa and Gredonia had long-standing armed forces that lent themselves well to the formation of the Maelstrom and the Order of the Twin Adder. To all intents and purposes it was the same people, loyal ones, mind, under the same leadership, only the banner was different. Not so the Flames. Aldar's military was made up of disparate orders, most of which were glorified mercenary companies that answered only to their own paymasters. Hardly an ideal environment in which to establish something as high-minded as a grand company. The difficulties Rabon faced when founding the Immortal Flames are well known. Even after he had convinced his fellow syndicate members to share the cost, there remained the small matter of finding enough bodies to fill the ranks. Indeed, and given the pressing nature of the Imperial threat, that meant recruiting every passing sellsword. Amidst the chaos of its founding, it would have been child's play to infiltrate the company. A good deal easier than now, aye. The Immortal Flames have ever been caught conflicting interests, the public and the private. Though the Monitorists ultimately agreed to support the organization's founding, 'twas not out of charity that they did so, but simple self-preservation. Had Neil Vandarna's ambitions been any less apocalyptic, you may be sure that they would have never risked supplying Rabon with an army. 'Tis but a wonder that they did not attempt to extinguish the flames the moment the danger had passed. Returning to the present. Even as we speak, our Doman allies are shadowing several high-ranking flames, any one of whom could be the Ivy. Desiring to deal a blow against the Empire, the refugees were eager to lend us their aid. I expect to hear from them ere long. Very good. Pray you continue your investigation with the first. Meanwhile, have the second attend to the unrest. The third can join the fourth in inspecting crystal shipments. If they notice anything unusual, I want to know about it. If Shiva is summoned in like manner to the other primals, the heretics will be looking for further supplies. Understood, Commander. I shall send word to Sir Emmerich informing him of our success in identifying the heretics' abettors. Hopefully the information will be of some use to the Ashgardians. It is time, Commander. Yes, I am aware. An emergency council of the Alliance leadership has been called. There have been developments in Garlemald, it would seem. Uh-oh. As commander of the Crystal Braves, my presence has been requested. And of course you would have me accompany you. As the realm's stoutest champion, 'tis only meet that you be present for the discussion. Oh, and the antecedent has already given her consent, lest you worry. Well, I guess we know where we go to next. Ul'dah. So now that we have to go there next, let's start with Alphinaud, because we know we have to warp there to Ul'dah anyway, so let's speak with Alphinaud to continue the challenge. Lest, like me, you are doubtless eager to conclude our business with Iceheart, but until another path to her sanctum is found, she will remain beyond our reach. Minfilia and the Archons are sparing no effort to secure an alternate route until such time as they succeed. I suggest we give some thought to the realm's other problems. I shall go on ahead to Gridania in readiness for the coming council. Meet me at Nothica's altar, and we shall make our way to the Lotus Stand together. Oh, it's going to take place in Gridania as opposed to Ul'dah. Yeah, because that's where it usually takes place, but to be honest, that does not surprise me that we're going to Gridania as opposed to Ul'dah, because if the Ivy is indeed around when the meeting takes place, who knows what information they may glean from us. So, I guess where we go next is to a meeting, but not in the usual place. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for watching the continuation of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV on Realm Reborn. And when I join you again, I will meet you in Gridania, where the members of the Eorzean Alliance will meet to figure out how best to deal with the Ivy. So until next time everyone, this is Matthew at Novora Autism, saying take care, and I'll see you soon.